Uganda Eyenkya.
This COVID-19 pandemic has made what we used to think as conventional unconventional, right? Like now it's okay and people can bless it for you to work at home. And the only thing you can worry about when you're using Zoom and you have a staff meeting, for example, is to be caught off guard seated on a toilet seat, right? With your pants down. It's possible. We have seen people actually being caught off guard, forgetting that they have a laptop in front of them, right? Yes, that's okay. That's still nature, right?
Not getting or not being used to that.
Yes, but we have been exposed to a situation where we have to accept that these things are possible. That actually it is one best way how businesses, corporate organizations, not-for-profit, how they can save money, right? You don't need a fancy office anymore. You need a computer. You need a small desk. You can do it from home. You need a report from me. And if I need to consult with Moses, Zoom is here, for example, and other technologies, for example. We can do that. So who is saving more money? And when did we now learn that this is possible? These are the days where we are confined in our own homes. So those are the positives you pick from this kind of, we have been forced to learn the harder way.
Yeah, true.
Right? So the same with school or education. That now we have to think anew. We have to think like with perspectives that if there is no classroom, what else? If there are no exams, what else? What other types of assessments that should really come into play? After all, we know that 98% of what we study and be examined about, when we leave school, we never remember. So, why should I worry about 2%?
Very good, Doctor. Speaking about the examinations, of course, what should be done in this scenario, of course, fact be told, we might have, or we now already have the data, because there are kids who are just starting school. There's those ones who are going to graduate and just remaining with some few things to do. What should be done to solve the situation?
I'll tell you this, that if by God's grace we survive this situation, I think if the minister is watching, and everyone concerned, every stakeholder in this education sector, we should prioritize anything that comes with competency. That learning should be competency-based. Learning should be about what can you do with what you know. Then, if that is the situation, you can examine someone from anywhere to prove what they know, what they can do with what they know.
What they know.
They don't have to sit in an environment somewhere, in an examination, in a scenario that they will never see in the entire years of their life. If you remember the years you sat, the times you sat in an exam for 3 hours in school, I can guarantee you that it is very hard for you to ever meet such a situation in your real life, where you sit with your colleagues, 100, 200 of them, and you're writing an exam for 3 hours. Then a gentleman or a lady comes, collects papers, takes them, and then has all of you in her own hands by marking your grade, and then they will say this grade will make you either move to this place or this place and determines your fate in life. You never see something like that. If you never see it, then it is not necessary, because you don't need it in your real life. So we should find ways that expose us to things we will need in our real life. So if I have to give the simple advice to the minister, we should shift to that kind of thinking, where people are tested to exhibit what they can do with what they know. That competency-based model, right? So that means you can actually test anyone, anywhere, and you don't need an invigilator.
Very good.
You don't need anyone to stand there to prove that this person did
Yes,
this.
knows this and he can do it.
Exactly. So,
because it's your skill, by the way.
it is a skill, hands-on, you know it. You either know it or you don't know it. But now, if that we are not given that chance, what can we do? So I think to still overcome what is happening, and it is complicated for Uganda because we have students who live in rural areas that will never access internet, right? But someone needs to also improvise for those kids. So much as there is a government program, like for example distributing food, right, to these households, so we can embrace a methodology like that, where from everything you have taught these kids, come up with an assessment, a general assessment of what you think a child at this level of learning they ought to have learned. Forget about what they have not covered, right? Because with a competency-based model, an authentic kind of learning model, it's not all about what you have covered. It's all about what you can do with the knowledge you have. So now, maybe we'll end up distributing these kinds of assessments to these kids wherever they are situated, and don't give them these 2 hours, whatever exams. No, a simple assessment to get something that would move them from one class to another. But learn a lesson, right? That we have a messed up system, and we should deal with it. So, but of course, to those in areas where internet is accessible, there are still general assessments you can deliver to these students through their parents, through themselves, if they have access to internet, and let them, their teachers, and trust their teachers.
Yeah, true.
I'm not talking about Uneb here. Uneb should be something, if I was in charge, that I would abolish like tomorrow. Yes.
Abolish
like
Uneb.
Tomorrow.
Are you for real?
Yes. What business do they have to do with the students' learning? How about teachers? How about the ministries?
It is an examinations
How about
body.
the district kind of commissions in charge of education? A board in charge of exams? What value? What value if you are worried about an invigilator, if the invigilator is not there, students will copy? Because these are questions that if you don't look in if you look in a textbook, you get the answers. We know the answers exist in a textbook. So I don't need even to be tested about them. I can only just ask me to read them.
So in case you were the Minister of Education, you wouldn't need UNEB?
Not even a single day. No. I would trust my teachers. I would trust my ministry. I would trust my district kind of education commission or any group that is there.
Or DEOs, district education officers.
To make sure that ensure that there is quality education, high quality assessments, right? That help empower students to exhibit what they can do rather than what they know, right? So, and I don't need a teacher. I mean, I don't need a UNEB body to set an exam that is going to be done universally around the country, right? Look at this. You're testing a child who is in a remote area where conditions are too different from a child who is in Kampala or in a capital city whose environment is too different, asking them to answer the same question.
Briefly, I think I've understood you very well, that you're pulling away the trust you have from the teachers and trusting another third party, of course, who even doesn't know the situation of the students.
Exactly. Thinking that one exam, which is going to be done in 2 hours, is going to test whether a child who has been studying from P1 to P7 has understood what they studied. Just in 2 hours.
In 2 hours.
You're testing someone who has studied 7 years. where has that ever been normal in real life? On a job market? Or in a labor market kind of environment? Where are you going to find something like that? No. In a job market, on an interview, they are going to ask you to prove if you are actually able to do what you're saying you want to do. The competency kind of aspect. Can you do what you think you know? Demonstrate that.
Could this be part of the opportunities COVID-19 has of course come or brought here in Uganda, that at least the policymakers need to actually polish or make something or overturn something? And I would love to pick your lead from ever since COVID-19 hit the world, what are some of the opportunities you've seen in regards to the education sector?
So for me, what I have seen, the number one is that we have been told by COVID-19 that actually what we have trusted as solving our problems, they're not. They are as outdated as anything older that we know. That we need to actually be tech savvy. We need to have embraced technology. That is not negotiable any time. Like, it's not negotiable. It's something we have to. And if we don't have this technology anywhere, then it should be a priority for us. And our teachers should be really trained to be up to speed with the technology, education technology out there. So the opportunity is that now everyone understands that it's high time, given what we have seen, it's high time we thought, like, we started thinking, how better can we deliver high quality education to these students who are the future? Future taxpayers, future parents, future educators, future leaders, future everything. And this is simply a wake-up call for us. We know we know we have lost time, kids have lost time, and we have no solution because we never embraced technology before, like developed countries did. So now we have an opportunity to embrace that. If we thought that it was a luxury at that time, we know it is not a luxury.
Okay.
If we knew that these pandemics may not just show up like that, now we know that they show up. So that means we need to be even more prepared than we have ever been prepared. So much as, of course, it is painful, it is hurting, it is disruptive for us to have this COVID-19 messing our lives up, but I also love this disruption. That it is driving a strong message
True.
that things are not as conventional as we used to think.
Should we say that you waited for this like long time ago so that some policymakers can pick some leaves you've been talking about?
For me, I would say that, of course, not in the angle of us losing lives, losing people.
As just a wake-up
yes,
call.
I am also thinking in my way of pushing this narrative that we need to change, to transform our education system. I would say it's a blessing in disguise.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yes, we are suffering, but we have been taught a lesson, and we ought to learn that it is okay to embrace change.
Very good, Doctor.
Uganda Eyenkya.